Well, today we're in Pennsylvania. We bought a truck and the air tanks were leaking. So it put the brake on, right?
What?
Doesn't it put the brake on when the air tanks?
Yeah,
Kinda. Okay. Anyway, so he is on the ground, well, on cardboard, trying to change the air tanks out so we can get it home. He bought a couple new air tanks this morning, so we have them in the back of the van. Just trying to get everything taken off because it's kind of rusty. And
there's always at least one or two of these quick connect hose fittings that aren't so quick to disconnect.
Yeah.
Usually crud it up. You try and push these things in and then hold the collar in and pull the pipe out. Tipping doesn't seem to work that way sometimes.
So anyway, we'll bring you back when we get further along. Well, he got the tanks, the old tanks out. And the one still held air, but the other one is pretty crusty, and that's the one that was leaking.
This one was leaking.
Oh, sorry.
This one was holding air.
Oh yeah, it's crustier down at that end.
Yeah, but we're just going to replace them both because one is not far behind from the other. Where's that Teflon tape?
Right here.
This has factory seal on it, but I'm going to be adding a little bit to it. Because I don't want to have troubles going down the road. And, you know, I'm using my travel box to repair this with, which has a good amount of tools in it for what we're doing.
Yeah, we used to work out of this box a lot.
Yeah, just this box alone. We used to work 100% out of that box. Now, I didn't bring the right size wrenches. I only brought up to 19 millimeter. So I'm going to have to use channel locks or pipe wrench on these fittings, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. I'll get them all in, started, and make sure that I can turn them before I go and tighten it up, because I'm, you know, depending on the orientation, I may not be able to get some of the stuff in here. So that's where we're going now. So I gotta get these out, and I wish I would have looked at it ahead of time, because I would have known, and I would have taken all the fittings loose I needed to while it was hooked to the. Holy crap! Well,
Can we stand on it or something?
Yeah, because this will be. Typically, once you break it loose, there you go. Much easier.
It's a good thing we brought cardboard because it's a little bit muddy around here.
Clean the threads off. You guys ever wonder? I said before that I wear my t-shirts for 1 year and they become rags. Proofing.
That one actually wasn't that bad. You just tore it. It wasn't worn out yet.
Gotta wrap your Teflon tape the right way so that when you put it on, you go to screw it in, it doesn't unscrew the tape.
It's hard to patch a t-shirt and it looked decent. So I don't even bother.
Because I'm worried about looks.
Well, if you go somewhere, sometimes you don't want to wear a patched up t-shirt, so I don't know.
So here's where a lot of my plugs come from. Stuff like this.
Yeah, you like those. You use them a lot.
I really do.
Oh, here we start with the yellow jackets. They were horrible at home. Trying to clean out a truck and they just would not leave me alone. It's that time of year.
This tank is split front to back, I think.
Wow.
I think there's two separate. Nope, it's this one is split. A lot of oil in that. Oil or water. It's like water. Alright, we'll get these all changed over and get them back in place. Now I did buy new cables because I figured these are just going to break or not come loose and cut them. So we brought die grinder, angle grinder, whatever you want to call it. And I just cut 2 of the cables because you couldn't get to them anyways. And they're kind of a pickle to get to because they're back behind the battery box. So that'll take me a little time. Get it cleaned up. Get it tightened up, I mean. Anyways, we'll bring it back once we get them in. Okay, we made it home. We had to jump it. The batteries are from June of 2016, and apparently they won't hold a charge. It held 13.8 volts all the way home, but I come back out this morning, 'cause it's the next day, and it didn't want to crank over. It cranks real slow. So I put a battery charger on it. We're going to let it sit, see if we can bring them up and go from there. But other than that, it did real well. Some pretty beefy tires on the back. It's got this big AUTOCRANE, which hopefully we'll be selling that off of it, and probably the perch too, maybe the service body. It's an old railroad truck also, but decent shape, runs good. We're going to take the body off of it. This is a 84 cab axle, so I'm not sure. I got a wrecker bed sitting around here. I've been looking for something to do with it. I don't know. We'll see what happens to this truck. I'm not certain yet, but all in all, it did pretty well except for the batteries. And I don't know if the batteries will come back or not. They might not. They never get any good paint on here. It never. I think they just paint it. I don't think they put any primer on them. Who knows? These are caps because it has trailer brakes all the way back here for your service and your spring brake. So I did have an air leak. We're having trouble getting it to build air pressure. Before, it wouldn't build anything, and because the tanks were bad, and everything that pumped out, it just leaked right out. So I replaced the tank. That took care of the air pressure problem. But you know, pretty decent truck, I guess. So hopefully we can get the crane sold, get this body off of it, and do something with it. All right. So today I wanted to work on this truck. I wanted to get off all of the add-on stuff that the railroad put on this truck off of it. Like they run this supply line, this 1/2-inch air line, and they run this small line as control line to control the air operated equipment that they added. I wanted to get all that off, and I wanted to remove these hydraulic hoses and some extra wiring and all that kind of crap. Well, my wife was cleaning this thing out and got it all kind of dolled up inside. She's not done, but whatever. And I got in it, and the battery was low, so I put it on charge. And as soon as I put it on charge, I shut the door and I watched, and this interior light went out and this one didn't. So I got up in there, turned the light out, and I charged it up. Come back later and it started up just fine. So I took the battery charger off of it. We left. We run a bunch of errands, and then I come back now, and the battery's dead. Dead beyond belief dead. Like so dead. I put the battery charger on it and it wouldn't go over, that's 3.9 volts right now. That's with it hooked up. I can't maintain 3.9 amps with at a 2 amp charge. It's really got a large draw on it. So I started looking through it, looking at all the wiring and all this. So I took the battery cable loose, the main battery cable. Watch this. That's with it off. Look how it's climbing. Put it back on. Right back down we go. So that main line goes up to the starter, which has a bunch of ring terminals on it to spread off, and you know, one goes up here, the body control module, another one goes up here. A couple of them come up here to the junction box. One comes up this way, up and over. The other one goes over here to the starter. And so I looked over here. I'm sorry, I went over to the alternator. And I came over here, and I knew it had a newer alternator on it. And so I was a little suspect of the alternator, but it's not even warm at all. But I went ahead and disconnected it just to make sure there was no draw on it, and there was no change. And then I looked right there, and this is where one of the other heavy wires come off. And this wire is warm, not hot, but warm. And that's a glow plug controller relay. We want to see if we have voltage on each side of that terminal, like voltage going through. Very hard to do this. Alright, turn it off. Turn the key off. It's still showing continuity through here. So hard to see though. Now it's open. Showing continuity. Now open. I'm going to take the one signal wire off. Whether it's a positive or ground, I'm not sure. This ain't nothing but a big relay. It's so hard to do this one-handed. Yep, it's sticking. It's still showing continuity with one side disconnected. It should be open right now because there's not enough to control it. It takes a positive and a negative on here. It's a like a plunger with a magnet basically. The coil gets energized and it pulls the plunger up and makes contact from one side to the other. Still showing continuity. I'm going to tap it. See if it breaks loose. There you go. Still showing continuity. And open. Okay, I'm pretty satisfied that that's a problem. At least it's bad, we know that. That may not be all. There may be something else still draining the battery, but we're going to change this out. And we'll go from there and see what it does. But I'm just going to bring this over here. Now it's completely disconnected. Oh yeah, it's cracked on top too. You see that? I believe that's Bakelite they're made out of. So hard to do this one-handed. Still showing continuity. And open. And continuity. So basically what happens is this shows continuity. It's given basically completing the path, completing the circuit. What's happening is the whole time that the battery has power, it's basically taking this battery voltage and running it to each of the glow plug wiring harnesses, which you can see comes right here and then goes right over to here to all 4 glow plugs on this side. So that being said, I'll go get another relay. I'll change that out. More than likely, as it cools down, it may let loose, but it may just be melted together. This is a pretty common problem, even on the 7.3s. Let's see. Yeah, it's still showing continuity. Alright, let's get another one, get it on.
So this truck is sold, but the guy didn't want the bed. So we got the bed off. This one came off a lot easier, especially than the last one that we took off. So that'll be the end of this truck. Got it about ready to go. And gotta find somewhere to stick another one of these service bodies. We're kind of running out of room here. But just stick it behind the international cab for now.
Alright, so here we are. It's probably a week later after we've changed out the that glow plug relay. And we got it all ready to go. I got some mud flaps temporaried on here, some temporary tail lights, all ready to go. One thing I do with these mud flaps, I take a 2x4 across here. These are pretty light mud flaps, that hard plastic. And we'll bungee cord these, but I also take a piece of wood inside the frame here, and I run it real tight to each side, and then I run long 3.5-inch screws down into here, so it creates a sandwich and it pulls the two, and it'll actually bow this. And I'll tell you, that's pretty strong. I mean, I can't move that thing. And then I'll drill a hole on the sides, on each side, so that that board can't kick left or right, and it can't come loose. But we'll throw bungee cords on it just in case, you know. But anyways, let's see if we got the problem fixed. See if if the battery's up, it's gonna start. Again, this truck's sold. It's going out of state here. It's chilly this morning. It's cold enough to see your breath, and it's rainy. Alright, look for the wait to start light to go out. Hear it raining on the roof. Alright, there we go. It's holding air pressure. Voltage is a little low. Sometimes you gotta give these a little RPM before they'll start charging. And then it'll take off. Watch, all of a sudden, sometimes it'll just snap over. We'll see what this one does. There you go. You raise the RPM, this seems to energize it, excite the alternators, we might say. But anyways, this one's done. Seeing how I just started, it's cold out. I'm gonna let it idle a while. I got everything off of it. This truck had a PTO on the transmission. I took that off. This truck has a remanufactured 6-speed transmission in here, and it's an overdrive. So I had to take the PTO off it because I didn't want that, and I had to put a plate over it. Well, I went ahead and drained all the fluid out, and it takes a synthetic 50, I believe it's a 50 weight, I don't remember. I ordered it from Napa, gear oil, and I just went ahead and drained the whole thing out of the bottom and cleaned out real good, make sure it's all good to go, put it back together. But yeah, it seems pretty good. Now on these trucks you can do an idle up. This is a cruise control, this is turning it on, and this is accelerating, and it'll bring your idle up to 1500 on a this one's a VT 365, so it brings the idle up a little higher. On a DT 466, they're typically about 1,000 RPMs is about where they bump up to, you know, just for warm-up, engine warm-up procedure. Used to be, yeah, see, they usually have starting instructions, and yeah, sometimes they'd have the warm-up procedure sticker in here and tell you how to do it. But to cancel it, you can just hit the brake pedal, or you can just turn it off over here. There it is. This air horn doesn't work. All the typical and international, all the writing is off on the switches here for cruise control. But anyways, pretty decent running truck. Runs down the road really, really good. But like I said, it's sold. So the guy's already paid for it. He's from, I think this truck's going to Minnesota. I think that's where the guy's from. He did a wire transfer and paid for it. Supposed to have been here on the 28th today, or 26th. Today's the 1st. I haven't heard from him, so I don't know what's happened. But anyways, we got the problems fixed, and look at the meat on the back of this thing. Look at them tires. And holy crap. I won't be upset if he changes his mind and doesn't want to take the truck, because I'll put this thing right to use. It's got air brakes. We had to cut the front, take the big front bumper off of it. It had this great big thing for the railroad, and I had to take it off. He's going to put a big chrome bumper on it, he says. So, anyways, that's another one, all done. We also have another one to start on over here. But that one's a DT466. We got to take the crane off. We got to take the bed off. That one's got an engine running problem. We had it delivered, and the guy ran it with a check engine light on. The check engine light started flashing. He kept driving. The engine started rattling. He kept driving. You know when he stopped driving? When the truck shut off and it wouldn't restart and it wouldn't move. That's when he quit driving. So we may be putting an engine in that truck. I've got another one down at the shop right now that I've sold. It's a crew cab also. It has a knuckle boom crane that's folded up in the back. We're going to remove it. We're going to remove the body that's on the other truck I'm talking about. PTOs, all the railroad equipment, all comes off. So that'll be next. So, alright guys, catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you want to, and we'll catch you on the next one.